Bologna High School actually opened up a program called Bologna Pathways Academy, and it is for students that know college is not for them. And when they are in ninth and 10th grade, they go to class just like a normal student would, but they have industry partners, our business, along with a whole lot of other construction companies in the area, and they take field trips to these jobs. They show the kids, here's dirt work, here's utilities.
That's so cool.
It's awesome. And then when they are 11th and 12th grade, they go to school part-time and actually do an internship with businesses. So it's just allowing them to, hey, college isn't for me, but I don't know what's out there.
They need more of that. And like we do something here called co-op. I don't know if they have something program like that, but like the local high school that I went to, even the co-op teacher that I had, she's still there. And she gives us probably 2 or 3 kids a year, that just come on, and it's non-paid work until they reach the hours, and then we pay them. There's no better way to decide whether you want to be blue collar than actually work in blue collar. And we have a string of employees that have been here since the very start of their working career because they were in co-op with us and carried on that through. So I think programs like that, like the one that you're talking about, are super important. But staying on the topic of like students and stuff, I think it's really interesting because, we're both young for the construction industry. I always find it interesting, especially you being 4th generation. I mean, your business has probably changed, not even just like size or growth or whatever, but I'm talking like culture and dynamic and beliefs and mission statements. I mean, obviously stuff remains core, but is there anything you think that a young, fresher mind, kind of brings to the table that we should be changing, not only for ourselves, but like for the industry as a whole?
I think just something at our age that we bring to the table is just bridging the gap. Our company specifically, we have employees that have been there 5 years to, let's see, Eunice has been there 59 years this year.
No way.
We have an 88-year-old concrete finisher that comes to work every day.
That's awesome. I love that, dude. That guy, I'd love to talk to him. He probably is
He will outwork everybody else, I promise.
Oh, and he's probably first one there.
He is. But it's just bridging that gap, because when you do have so many employees that are more old school, and then you bring in these young employees that are, the GPS and all kinds of stuff, we bridge that gap really well in continuing the company.
I like this conversation because I grew up old school. My father is very old school and my grandfather was very old school. So inherently, I kind of am as well, too. And, what I struggle with is exactly what you just said. And we need more of that. I'd love to know what you're doing to kind of help bridge that gap. But like, I struggle with it as well, just with the new workforce, like I'll say an example this morning, and hopefully my employees are listening. It's not too often that I go and start off a job site in the morning. But this morning we were stitching job sites. We're about 3 weeks away from Christmas shutdown. So we're doing a bunch of these small projects just to, get us through to that until new ones are firing up. And I said, well, I'll meet you guys out on site this morning. So I knew, okay, like when I was back in the day, my dad, like we would leave home at 6 a.m. to be on site early, and like he'd be like, go grease the machine, do this. So, but I'm like, they take a little bit longer now. So I'm like, okay, I'll leave home at like 6:20 to get to the site at like 6:40. My wife was like, why are you still home right now? Like having a coffee. I'm just like downstairs waiting. I'm like, these guys, I show up at 6:40, no one's there. 6:50, no one's there. 7:00, no one's there. I send a text to my foreman. I said, dude, your boss beating you to the job site, that's not impressive. Like, come on. And then they get there and it's like my father, I could hear him being like, don't hound the guys, because sometimes I can be hard on our guys. But I'm like, I think that's a perfect example of just how I was raised and how it is now. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. Obviously, being late is not okay, but it's like there was no urgency or anxiety in them. Like if I woke up like after my father when I was a kid and was at the job site after him, the internal anxiety or freaking out of me being like, holy get my gear on and I'm like 100 mile an hour just to get to the job site. I feel like it's kind of gone. I'm not saying out of everybody, but anyways, that was my long tangent story to basically say, how are you bridging that gap? Like, what do you see in the new generation, and how do we kind of maybe work around that stuff from a Yusuf to the new guys?
I totally agree with you. I mean, we tell our guys time starts at 7, and we have an office in North Little Rock that a lot of employees come out of, our concrete crew does. But then our excavation and utility projects, they just meet on site. And 7:00, they're pulling in 6:59, running, clock in, or 2 minutes late. And they're just like, I don't care. So yes, I completely see that problem. I just think incentives are the only way to really work with the new. If you give them a reason to show up early, they're going to. But if you don't, they're not going to.
Yeah, I totally agree. You need to have incentives for them. And it's hard because you don't want to sit here and like rag on them and say like the next generation isn't, because trust me, we have an awesome crew and our crew is very young and we got some good workers. I just think that, I don't know. I just don't, I feel like more than not of the old other generation kind of have a more nonchalant about their job and more of a, now I sound like the old guy. More of a self entitlement of like, you're lucky to have me, versus the other way around when I was going out in Alberta working a pipeline of like, I busted my ass to get a job for 4 weeks, showing up to this guy's office every day with a double coffee. And I remember him telling me, you got this job, Taylor, based on persistence because you showed up every single day and bugged me to the point. I have job interviews now, Julie, and they walk away and go, all right, well I'll let you know.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? You're going to let me know? How does that work? Do you find that the power, like even during COVID times, I feel like though the power shifted because it was like everybody need laborers. So it was like you needed to make it look like you had this rainbows and ice cream place to work and be like, we give everybody $100 just for showing up every day. And it's like, what the heck?
I completely agree. I think that, yes, we sound like our parents and grandparents.
It's interesting. Like